Hola and welcome to our 29th episode of the Roofless Dog and Pony Show. We're so excited to be here. I am Julio Panisello. I am the dream alchemist at Roofless Painters, and I'm going to be the host of this presentation. We are just gonna talk a little bit about what this is, so we allow people to come in, and also after that we're just gonna talk about the next painting webinar. We're super excited. But yes, the Roofless Dog and Pony Show is a weekly live presentation featuring the conceptual and stylistic inspiration behind our painting webinars. We've been painting every week remotely since March 2020, and every week we introduce a new collection of paintings inspired by different themes, and we try to connect the subjects and the themes of our paintings with something that's happening around us. So we try to find that connection since we are still isolated. So what we do is we introduce the theme, we talk about the inspiration behind it, and we also provide visual examples of paintings or artwork that serves as inspiration, as an example, as a departure point for us to decide what and how we're going to paint. You can find all the episodes in our Instagram page. We have a YouTube channel, and you can find the episodes there as well. And we have 29 with this one, so it's been a while. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and talk about the theme. And so this past week has been very intense, and we're so happy that we are on the other side, and it seems that we are okay on day one, formally day one. If you're watching from the future, we are very excited of the new chapter. And this week we've been bombarded by news about strange things that happened. And so there's this person, his name is Mike Lindell, and he is the CEO of the My Pillow company. And so he was seen at the White House last Friday, less than a week ago, and someone took photos of the paper or the notes that he was carrying, and the notes were talking about insurrection and martial law and all that garbage. So we followed those news in a very stressful way, but the next day apparently a lot of companies who sell his products dropped him and his products. So Kohl's and Bed Bath & Beyond and Wayfair, they're all dropping his products. They're not selling the My Pillow stuff anymore. So we thought it would be amazing to take the opportunity to go from this piece of news to actually consider pillows as a subject for this week's webinar. We're still debating the title of the webinar, but I think we're going to call it Our Pillows, just because we don't want to use the same name, and we also want to convey the idea that we are a community and of people, and that doesn't want anything to be taken away or hijacked. We're talking about pillows. This guy, it's a pillow salesman, and pillows are not supposed to be politicized, I think. So it's so stupid. to get something that's so universal and it represents so many amazing things, and then makes such a stupid move and politicizing it. So some people were making fun of the company and the guy. They were calling the company Mine Pillow in reference to the fascist movement. Mind you, if I don't know now, but if you would go to the website, he's offering discounts. And if you want a discount on a pillow, you just have to type the word QAnon, and then you get a discount. So it's pretty ridiculous from the standpoint of a corporation to alienate so many people. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about things about pillows that I didn't know, but I brought some examples of paintings with pillows. So pillows have been a subject of inspiration for a lot of artists throughout history. And I found some references of 18th century, 17th, 18th century of, I would say 18th century. A lot of pillows used for pet portraits and for royalty. And I learned that pillows were only used by wealthy people up until the Industrial Revolution. Only very rich people had pillows and used pillows. But pillows were not part of the daily use of everyone else. So this painting, it's an oil on canvas, and I believe, it's by a Japanese artist. His name is Takanobu Kobayashi. Pillow, painted in 2008, and he was born in the 1960. In 1960, he's still alive, and he grew up in the 1970s and was influenced by the culture at the time. So there was a lot of conceptualism in the 1970s. There was also a resurgence or appreciation for land art and pop art as well. So he was heavily influenced by those movements, and his paintings still up today, they capture the simplicity and the conceptual, I would say, significancy of objects, everyday objects. So, by the way, what we are going to encourage everyone joining us to do is to choose their bed pillow, not just an ordinary pillow, a decorative pillow, but specifically their bed pillow. And that's why we brought examples of that. So, and then what else do I have about these artists? Some artists started to focus on material. The article talks about process artists versus conceptual and land artists. Process artists are sculptors and painters, and mostly that, I guess. So they were interested in material, in stone, wood, glass, sponge, fabric, and that in regards to painting was exemplified with something like this, painting an object isolated with no context, and also focused on the materiality of it. So I'm going to bring another example. This is a piece by Andy Warhol, actually. And it's titled Pillows. Untitled Pillows. 1986. And these are 4 photographs stitched together with thread. So there's a little bit of a process work here with the addition of the sewing of the photographs. You can see the piece of thread hanging. So we searched and tried to find out the meaning or the conceptual significance behind this piece, we couldn't find anything. The closest thing we found is related to the silver pillows. Warhol did an installation in which he grabbed a bunch of balloons, and that they were floating in a room, and that was the installation. So I don't know. We don't know if this was the seed that preceded the cloud installation. We don't know if this. My guess is that this is his pillow, and he took pictures of it. So we thought it was significant. It's not a painting, but it is a bed pillow. It's a very personal object that many artists have used to convey the idea of intimacy and exposure, a biographical sense of emotion, if you will. So yes, Andy Warhol, Pillows, 1986. This is a painting, and with these examples we try to find as many varied visual representations of a subject as possible, just to show that the subject could be tackled in many ways. So this is by Susan Charney Rothenberg, and she was known, she passed away last year, and she was famous, or she was known for her paintings of horses. She lived in New York. She was an American contemporary painter, printmaker, sculptor, and draughtswoman. She achieved a place of prominence through her iconic images of the horse, in which she synthesized the opposing forces of abstraction and representation. Again, we don't have a lot more information besides this. Again, this is called Pillow. There's a figure, and the figure is laying on a bed. And even though there is a figure, we thought it was interesting to bring this approach to treating the painting not only monochromatically, but also we usually and frequently talk about abstraction and figuration being complementary, not opposite. So another example of a painting of a pillow from the 1980s. I'm just gonna I have a lot of photographs, but let's talk about this photograph. And this is the artist's pillow, actually. Gavin Turk. Gavin Turk, I don't know if you're familiar with this name, or if it sounds familiar. Gavin Turk is a contemporary British artist. This is titled Pillow, 2018. It's a giclée print, and he was born in 1967. He is considered to be one of the young British artists, and I think in the late 90s, there was this push to create a brand of contemporary art associated with the UK, and he was part of the group of people associated or belonging to the group British, the young British artist. So his work deals with issues of authenticity, of identity. He is engaged, I'm reading off the Wikipedia essentially, he's engaged with modernist and avant-garde debates surrounding the myth of the artist and the authorship of a work of art. So he, in my opinion, I should say, my point of view, he's a controversial artist because he co-opts or he copies, I know that this word is relative, other people's works and styles, and then he just makes them his own. So I'm not a fan of his work. I'm guessing this is his pillow, but we chose it because it looks like a painting, and because this exemplifies best the idea of this subject for this week's collection of paintings. grab your bed pillow and paint it. So I want to talk a little bit about something else that it's not about a pillow, but I thought it was interesting because hopefully if you're still watching, which thank you guys for watching, and if you're watching from the future. So one of the things that he did, this Gavin Turk, was to get Andy Warhol. Speaking of Andy Warhol, Andy Warhol has paintings, silk screen pieces rather, of Elvis Presley, and done in different colors. So he took a painting of Warhol, an image of a painting of Warhol depicting Elvis Presley, and then he, the artist Gavin Turk, he created or recreated the same piece with himself as Elvis Presley. And not only that, but he also used diamond dust over the painting. So he recreated the version of Warhol with himself as Elvis, and he put diamond dust on it. So he's not the first person to use diamond dust on paintings. Andy Warhol was. And I mentioned this because next time you drive by one of these commercial galleries, I'm going to call it like commercial cheesy galleries that sell stupid work that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for these huge mansions, you're going to notice a lot of pictures of Marilyn Monroe, especially Marilyn Monroe, that are glittery. They're shimmery. You see a lot of like sparkle. Well, those versions come from Andy Warhol's idea of putting diamond dust on his work. And one of these days, I'm going to pop in one of these galleries and I'm going to ask them if they use diamond dust or they use something else. But just so you know, next time you see something like that, think of Gavin Turk. It's one of his most famous pieces, and also Andy Warhol doing Marilyn Monroe's and Elvis Presley's. And sorry that it took this much time to talk about this, but I hope that will cement my opinion of Gavin Turk and Andy Warhol for that matter. So I'm just gonna bring this is a photograph. I found this painting of this I think he's Uruguayan American artist, or Horacio Torres, perhaps. It says here American, 1924-1976. We couldn't find much information about his work, but we know that his paintings are part of collections in museums. I think the Met has one of his paintings, I believe, or the Reina Sofia in Spain. I'm not sure, but he is a painter that it's not very well known, but his work is part of like known collections. This is titled Pillow and Sheets, and it was painted in 1972. And this is an example of potentially what this assignment or premise could be beneficial for in regards to painting. This could be a good time to practice fabric, value, folds, wrinkles, and stuff like that. So we hope that this is a subject that brings a different kind of challenge, and this is an example. Of course, this is a very dramatic and hyper-realistic idea of what I just said, but nevertheless, I feel it's a good example of fabric folds and wrinkles, and painting our bed pillows could be a good way to practice that. So I'm just gonna bring another. This one is again. I don't know if again or it's the first sculpture. Is it the first sculpture? It's a sculpture. This is by a Chinese artist, contemporary Chinese artist, Liu Jianhua. It's titled Pillows, 2009, and it's painted fiberglass. It's not a painting, but this encapsulates the essence of what we are trying to achieve in this week's collection of paintings. Just isolate, perhaps not isolate, but it could be grab the pillow and then put it somewhere else and do a still life with it, or take a photo of the pillow after you wake up in the setting of the bed. There are many options. I'm personally debating which one to choose, but this could be a good example after Horacio Torres, the example before, of a sculpture of an isolated or an image of an isolated piece. And what I love about it is the imprint of the head. And we were talking about pillows as being almost objects that recreate the negative version of the portrait, of our portrait. It's not a recognizable image, but in fact they live our imprint. So there's something autobiographical about painting a pillow, a bed pillow. So he began his career in 1977 by working at the Jingdezhen Pottery and Porcelain Sculpture Factory in China. And he now creates sculpture and installations in porcelain, found objects, and other materials. And Liu responds to Chinese culture and material history within the context of globalization. Okay, I think this is sort of like a very pompous sentence. I don't know how to grab this sentence and just talk about globalization and Chinese culture, but I don't know. I don't think that's really accurate, but that's my opinion. I'm gonna bring a photograph. I know it's not a pillow, but we have studied and we have talked about this artist before, Joanne Kallis. He's a contemporary artist. We, in fact, did a collection of paintings inspired by precisely this photograph. And she was born in 1940, and she is an American artist who works with photography and is based in California. And so this is a very evocative and suggestive image. She talks about her themes are motherhood, intimacy, the female experience. So there's a very strong sense of surrealism in the recreations of her images, especially when it comes to figures. There is always tension and drama and pain and anxiety and hurt and struggle. And I don't remember, I couldn't find the title of this image, but this is so you know what this is, and we don't associate using a sleeping pillow with having our faces on the pillow, and unless we are screaming. So it's an invitation. I'm just trying to articulate what this makes me think of. But there is a very interesting pictorial element in this photograph. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is a line, an actual line, it looks like a marker line, running from the very top of her scalp, her head, all the way down the spine, just following the vertebra bones, the protrusion of the bones. So yeah, I think it's just such a sensual, erotic, but at the same time dramatic and anxious image. Anyhow, look at the pillow, see what the pillow looks like, direction of the light, folds. It's on a bed, and this could be an inspiration to conceptually think of our pillow not only as an object, but as something that supports, and it could be supporting of a physical head, but also supporting of thoughts, supporting of emotions, supporting of screams. Anyhow, so moving on, I'm just gonna bring this amazing image that we found. This is by Albrecht Durer. I don't know, the Renaissance, the German Renaissance artist. Albrecht Albrecht Durer. Okay, so German, 1471, 1528, contemporary of Leonardo da Vinci and the other fabulous Renaissance guys in Italy and other places in Europe. This is a self-portrait with a pillow, and it's a drawing done between 1491 and 1492. The study of the portrait of the artist holding a thistle. By the way, there is a famous portrait, self-portrait of Durer holding a thistle. Durer, his work is just so amazing, and unfortunately he doesn't get the same attention as the Leonardos and the Raphaels and whatever. But talk about eroticism and sensual tension. All his self-portraits are have that. They're not religious, and unlike Leonardo, who portrayed a lot of like he used the male gaze to portray a lot of maidens. Durer did a lot of self-portraits and portraits of dudes, and you just have to Google him because this one in particular, it's so delicate and mannerist almost. So this was a study for the portrait, especially the hand, and the portrait, the painted portrait, is now in the Louvre, and this drawing was executed on the reverse of that painted portrait. So the canvas on the back has this sketch. So there's a similar position of the fingers, although it's a different hand on the painting versus the back on the canvas. So he was Durer was a German painter, printmaker, and theorist of the German Renaissance. He was born in Nuremberg and established his reputation and influence across Europe when he was in his 20s due to his high-quality woodcut prints. Woodcut prints. It's a lot of woodcut printing. He was in communication with the major Italian artists of his time, including Raphael, Giovanni Bellini, and Leonardo da Vinci, and from 1512 he was patronized by Emperor Maximilian I. I'm guessing he was a German emperor. So this could perfectly be a contemporary drawing. So notice the pillow, excellent way of incorporating folds and value, so that could be a good study. I'm just gonna jump to this painting that reminds me of Sarah Jennings' style. This painting, it's not a very well-known artist. Her name was Dixie Durham, and this painting is titled "A Fork Under the Pillow to Cure Night Sweats." 1977. She was American. 1915, 2010. So an American post-war contemporary artist who was born in 1915. Dixie Durham's work has been offered at auction multiple times. Only one artwork sold, and it was titled "Watching from the Window," which sold for $1,300. So we go from I love going from Durer to this. I'm guessing she was African American. Her paintings are beautiful, and she was a self-taught artist. There's no biography, and even this little piece of article doesn't even address the pronoun. So I'm saying she, but I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know that piece of information, and I don't know if she was African American for sure. There are no images. But anyhow, so just wanted to bring the image of the pillow and the use of the pillow. I just love the fact that there's a fork under the pillow, and that's supposed to cure night sweats. So I wish I knew that, because I would have put some forks under my pillow and several times in the past 4 years. This is another interesting painting involving a pillow. It's by Sergio Vacci. The Legs of the Pillow, 1984. He was an Italian painter, 1925 to 2016. He was born in Bologna, right? Yeah. Region of Italy, self-taught, and not much information. But yeah, he was fairly well known at the time because he was invited to the Venice Biennale. And yeah, so I love the color palette, the salmon rose color against the gray, the fact that the light is so interesting, the light direction. There's also light, I don't know if you noticed the feet or the calves, there's this golden orange light coming from the left of the room, and there's the artificial lighting that's radiating down. There are two very interesting objects on this shelf where the acting as a headboard. It's such an interesting, mysterious painting that involves a human hiding under a pillow. Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna jump. I love this next artist really quickly because I don't want to take too many minutes. But sorry guys. So this artist, contemporary artist who lives in LA. Her name is Tala Madani. Two Pillows and a Bolster, 2007, created in 2007. She was born in 1981, so super young. She's an Iranian-born American artist, best known for her contemporary paintings, drawings, and animations. And she lives in LA, and I just want to follow her work now because hopefully you're gonna laugh at this description. She is known for her use of cartoonish and exaggerated sexual imageries in her paintings. I think that's the way you pronounce that word. Her work often focuses on the relationship between the adult and child. Many of her works contain images of men in traditionally childlike positions, playing with their anuses, bodily fluids, and penises. Okay, TMI, I know, but I think that's interesting to bring up just because I like the combination of everything. That she's Iranian American, and she uses this way of approaching traditional, the male figure, so she's using the female gaze, if you will, and then she goes scatologic. I think that's the word. So Madani works to capture the moment an idea emerges in sketchbooks, and she translates this by using decisive brushwork and strong lines in her paintings. And it's a visual example of real-world impulses that get repressed. Wow. Madani began incorporating animation into her work. It would be too fun to actually watch her cartoons. We haven't done it yet, but this is something funny. In 2013, she was part of the lawsuit, in which she had 114 of her paintings in a storage locker. The storage locker was put up for auction without her permission, and the paintings were purchased by a collection, Independence Collection LLC. So that this looks very fishy. So corporation or company of collectors just bought the storage containers in which she had 114 paintings. So again, put everything in the pot. You know, the fact that she uses this really provocative subject, that it doesn't seem very commercial, but it's so sought after that a group of shady collectors gang up to purchase the storage unit where she has her paintings without her knowledge. So I don't know if she's still in the process of finding a resolution, but I thought I would bring up this idea how a painting and an artist can create such interest. And so talking about strange and weird, I have a few more. This is a painting of a winking monkey on a pillow. So this is just like a slippery slope, you guys. So just get ready. 1936, this year, it's so traumatic for so many reasons, for so many people, in Europe especially. 1936, this painter did this. His name is Joseph Schippers. Joseph Schippers. Joseph Schippers was the son of Charles Schippers. He followed his training at the Academy of Antwerp under the direction of Leon Brunin and Peter van Havermaet. He became known as a painter of animals, especially for his depictions of monkeys, including with humanized traits in different scenes inside. I don't know if this was a translation of something else. His work is disturbing. You know, we talk about anthropomorphing things, but we kind of like stay away from anthropomorphing animals, because I feel like that's wrong. I brought this because the subject matter and the color palette and the use of raw umber, and it's a weird painting. It's a different use of a pillow, obviously, and I don't know. It just feels incredibly classic and iconic and disturbingly repulsive. But there you go, another example. Don't. I was gonna say don't use animals. No, maybe our lovely pets sleep on our pillows, and we share our pillows with them. So perhaps that would be a different story. But anyhow, I think it's time to move to another image, which I love. Also bringing a certain level of surrealism. Rita Hall, it's a contemporary artist. She's a contemporary artist from Australia. This is called Tide Pillow 2002, and it's gouache pastel on paper. I couldn't find absolutely anything else. I don't think she's a very well-known artist, or at least an artist that has been written about. I absolutely love this sort of like Christo-inspired piece in which the pillow is tied up, and also it reminds me a little bit of Joanne Kallis. Completely different, but the use of the line and perhaps this image of something tied up and stressful. A pillow, it's not supposed to be tied up. There's this very shocking juxtaposition of something amorphous that conforms to our shape, and then something restrained. So yeah, this is a photograph by an American photographer. It's a decorative, you could argue it's a decorative pillow, but I thought it was interesting because of the title. It's called Heartbreak Pillow, taken in 1945. The name of the artist is Ouija, Arthur Felling, 1899-1968. Was known by his pseudonym Ouija as a photographer and photojournalist, known for his stark black and white street photography in New York City, and he worked in Manhattan's Lower East Side as a press photographer during the 30s and the 40s, and developed his signature style by following the city's emergency services and documenting their activity. That just caught my attention. Following the city's emergency services and documenting their activity. I don't have much more information, but it would be interesting to find out which kind of emergency services he followed and what kind of activity was documented. It makes me think of if we're going to find images, or which I hope we do, of artists or photojournalists following emergency services today and documenting what's happening, because that could be a really interesting body of work. This is a painting. It's not a painting, it's a photograph, but there's acrylic on it. So it's John Baldessari, died last year, contemporary, 1931, 2020. American conceptual artist known for his work featuring found photography and appropriated images. He lived and worked in Santa Monica and Venice, California. So this is an image. This is titled, I don't have the title of this image. It's a collage of 3 different images. You can see the painted, you cannot see, I cannot change this. But behind there's another image of figures with a red and a green dot, and then there's a volcano and it's blocked with blue. But yeah, it's the image of the figure. John Baldessari started as a painter, and then he had a major crisis, and he burned every single painting he had. And then he started incorporating language and conceptual elements into his work. But there's still some reminiscence of his painterly days, or his days as a painter. And this is one of them. He is also influenced by pop art, 70s and 80s, consumerism and branding and all that stuff. So another example. And then Nan Golden, this is a photograph titled Pillow Village Hotel, Room 41, Hamburg. And so she is an American photographer. She is known now for her work against opioid epidemic. She's the one who made the Oxycontin. I don't know. So my brain is not 100%. Makers shut down, and now they're getting lawsuits. And also, she single-handedly made art institutions around the world, not only in America, stop accepting donations by shady people like the Oxycontin family. I know it's a different name, but anyhow. So before that, she was known for her work exploring LGBT bodies, moments of intimacy, the HIV crisis, and the opioid epidemic. Her most notable work is The Ballad of Sexual Dependency, 1986. Which documents the post-Stonewall gay subculture and Golden's family and friends. She lives and works in New York, Berlin, and Paris. And again, she Pillow Village Hotel, Room 41, Hamburg. She took different photos of different hotel rooms. And that's another layer that's very interesting. Hotel room pillows. Let's not just even open that. I think this is the final image. Sorry, this is taking much longer, but I hope this is interesting and useful. And Sheila Olener, Woman Resting on a Pillow. It's an engraving. She died at age 89. I don't know which year. I couldn't find it. This was from her obituary. Was best known as a printmaker and founding member of the Portmore printmakers in St. Eves, Cornwall. The group led by Sheila originated in the production of a portfolio made by 10 artists in 1990 in support of the planned Tate Gallery there. The St. Eves Tate Gallery that is there has been there not for a long time, and she was one of the artists who pushed to get the Tate to open another building there. I thought it was interesting to bring a different medium and a different composition involving a figure. This is a little bit less dramatic than the one with a tied up pillow, and Joanne Kallis, dramatic, a suffocating image. So even if I have more photographs, I'm just going to stop because I want to read a poem about a pillow that's beautiful. And also, some people have made memes of the My Pillow guy saying, "My pillow, if you want to suffocate democracy today." And then they put a phone number. So lots of jokes and memes about the fascist tendencies. I think it's a really stupid decision to politicize a pillow. We can talk during the webinar about what pillows mean to us, and we love when we paint together how everyone or people contribute to the conversation. And Lois, which I want to acknowledge here, she's the one who posted in her Instagram stories the My Pillow news, and then that gave us the idea. And then she also mentioned that this could be a good example or a good idea to do in order to symbolize the fact that we are will be able to sleep a little bit better after yesterday's inauguration. So it's not just a pillow, it's not just something intimate, but I like the idea of this symbolizing rest and peace of mind, perhaps. I don't know for how long, but yeah. Hey, Lois. Yeah, so I'm glad you're here. So I'm glad that I acknowledged your contribution. So really briefly before the poem, this is too juicy, and I don't care. I don't care how long it gets. But the earliest known use of pillows is in ancient Mesopotamia, which dates back to 17,000 BC. The pillows were hard. They were made of stone. Back then, they were used only by the wealthy. The more stone pillows you possessed, yeah, the higher your rank in society. So, owning stone pillows was a sign of wealth and prestige. In a similar fashion, wealthy ancient Egyptians used stone pillars to elevate their heads and prevent insects from crawling into their ears and noses. That just gave me the creeps, but I had to say it because I think it's fascinating. In ancient China, I need to get back to phonics class. People believed that soft pillows sucked the energy out of their bodies while sleeping. So they made elaborate design pillows from stone, wood, and ceramic. So there you have it. Another interesting fact about pillows. During the Middle Ages in England, only women in labor used pillows. The cushions were rarely used by men, as they were perceived as a sign. For the interruption, they were perceived as a sign of weakness. Pillows only, it just drives me crazy, but it's so interesting. Pillows only gained popularity in Europe and the United States during the Industrial Revolution, when they were mass-produced in large textile factories. This allowed them to be cheaper, so more people could own them. Most households started using pillows only, not only for their beds, but also for decoration. So it would be interesting to find out decorative pillows, what's the history behind that, and when they were first introduced. I'm not going to take decorative pillows for granted anymore. So just very interesting and fascinating, and this idea of bringing in gender to the use of pillow, used for women in labor, not used for men because it's too delicate. Oh man, that's just so good. So bad. It's good, but it's bad. So this is a poem, and finally, this is it. This is a poem, Pillow, by, I think it's Yana Prekril. I think it's pronounced Yana. Pillow. How solitary and resolute you look in the morning, a stoic in your cotton sleeve. Do you dream of walking out, rain or shine, a truffle balanced on your sternum, and passing me on the sidewalk? Or is that a smile because you interpret nothing, and statelessness is where you live? See you tonight by the sovereign chartreuse ceramics at the Met. Let's hear what you would do differently. I just thought it was just beautiful. On that note, register on our calendar. We have the link. We're going to send an email to those of You who are in our email list, please join us. This is going to be interesting, fun, symbolic, connecting with a new beginning, new chapter, still life, practice of folds and fabric. Also something intimate, an intimate object. I think we have used objects as still lifes with different uses, the toaster and the candle, but I feel like that's something really, really intimate. We've never done it before, and we're super excited, and we can't wait to have a collection of paintings of pillows. Thank you so much. You guys are insanely generous with your time. Lois, Jen, I think we're going to call it our pillow. Thanks for your suggestion, just to go against. I don't know. Laura, what the hell? Where are you? Hania, thank you so much. And everybody else. Julie, you guys are way too generous. We're super invested in providing as much information, so it's inspiring us to do something different. Please join us tomorrow, Friday. Sending much love to you. Yes, yes, thanks, Laura. And so everyone, sending love, and congratulations, and it's a new world, and we couldn't be happier. And also I wanted to say that we were able to deal with the inhumanity of the last 4 years through the use of creativity. So we realized, watching the inauguration, there were so many things, but we realized that for a while, art was back on stage again, back on stage. Of course, the poetry of Amanda Gorman, I think that's her last name, which was the highlight of everything, but also the gift that Dr. Biden selected, a painting that now is hanging at the Capitol, of a rainbow by a black artist from the Hudson River School. And we realized that the best way to humanize us is through art. And the reason why the last 4 years were so dehumanizing, it's because of the absence of it. So we were able to deal with that dehumanization through painting together as a community collectively. Thank you guys for doing that. And I cannot wait to take our painting practice to the next level now that we are in the beginnings of what it seems a 4 year, hopefully it's going to be like more than that, in which the arts will become important again. All right, time to leave. Bye, everyone.